If you've only been following my channel since the summer, which is probably about half of my subscribers, then you probably think that I don't like the NBA. Because all I have done the past 3 months is criticize Adam Silver, LeBron James, hell, most of the league for diving headfirst into the abyss known as social justice politics. The NBA has become a league full of social justice warriors, for the most part, which is weird when you think about it, because when most people think of SJWs, they picture an early 20s, upper middle class white kid, not a professional athlete. The truth is, I don't hate the NBA. I love the NBA. The NFL will always be king when it comes to my personal preference in sports. But the NBA is a close second. The reason that I have been so critical of the NBA the past few months is because I hate that they are killing themselves in the eyes of the American public. There aren't very many of us YouTubers or people in the media that are speaking out against the NBA and their social justice politics. There's just not a lot of us doing it. In the mainstream sports media, it's the complete opposite. They're actually covering for the NBA. You won't hear any mention of the NBA's decline on ESPN or Fox Sports 1. Unfortunately for the NBA, no amount of lying by omission by the mainstream sports media can cover up for the fact that they have a major problem right now. And that problem is, you guys aren't watching. You guys have voted with your remote controls. You guys have decided that the NBA is just not worth your time anymore. But I have a little bit of good news today. After 3 months of your, I guess you could call it a protest or a boycott of the NBA. After 3 months of you guys telling the NBA that you don't like politics, including in their broadcast, it seems that the message is finally starting to get through. NBA Commissioner Adam Silver was on NBA Countdown the other night. He was being interviewed by Rachel Nichols. You just knew. You just knew it was only a matter of time before social justice was going to be brought up. Rachel Nichols made the point that the NBA has been at the forefront of this social justice initiative. And she asked Adam Silver what the plans were going into next season. And I'll be honest, Adam Silver's response shocked the hell out of me. I'm paraphrasing here, but Adam Silver said that next season they were going to return to normalcy. There will be no Black Lives Matter painted on the court. There won't be any of those ineffective social justice messages on the back of the players' jerseys. He insinuated that in terms of the players, their political beliefs and their messages would have to be something that they could do off the court, not on it. Adam Silver even admitted that the infusion of social justice politics into the NBA has been wildly unpopular. He said even with people that agree with the message or agree with the platform, they don't want to hear about it while they're watching NBA basketball. My God, finally, someone in a leadership position in the NBA has woken up. The league has been preaching for months about how woke they are. But they've really been asleep. They have been in a bubble since July. And they don't have their fingers on the pulse of what their audience wants. It is about damn time Adam Silver woke the hell up and realized social justice politics is driving his league straight off a cliff. Honestly, though, it's not like Adam Silver had much of a choice in this matter. You guys didn't give him much of a choice. If NBA ratings were normal, or even if they'd only seen a 5%, 10% drop, believe me, they would continue to beat you over the head with woke politics. But that has not been the case. Ratings for the NBA playoffs were down 30, 40, 50, 60, 70% in some cases. The NBA finals have been a disaster. LeBron James, supposedly the NBA's biggest draw, their most popular player, the GOAT, if you're ignorant enough to listen to Nick Wright on FS1. A guy who honestly gives us millennials a bad name. Another white sports media personality desperate to be accepted by this woke movement, whose television ratings are so low, I couldn't even find any Nielsen data on them. Anyway, ratings for the NBA Finals have been a disaster. Like I told you guys the other day, the 3 lowest viewed games in the history of the NBA Finals, games 1, 2, and 3 of this series between the Heat and the Lakers. But don't worry, the media will tell you, don't worry, because games 4 and 5, they rebounded big time. Game 4, 5.3 million people. Game 5, 5.7 million. I'll be damned. There's no need to worry about the NBA. Those ratings are great. Those ratings are embarrassing. I mean, think about this. Your most popular player is chasing his 4th title, possibly his last. Your most popular franchise, the Lakers, are in the finals, and most people could not care less. Let's put this year's ratings for the NBA Finals into a little bit of perspective. Some of you might think 5.7 million people is a good number. For a random television show on cable, it is. But when you're talking about the championship of a major sports league, that number is abysmal. Game 4 of the finals last year, 13.2 million. Game 5 last year, 18.3 million. LeBron James and his woke politics ran off 70% of last year's audience. And Nick Wright wants to call him the GOAT? FS1 should yank him off the air for that blasphemy and outright disrespect of the real GOAT, Michael Jordan, who propelled the NBA to levels of popularity that they haven't seen since. The media wants to make excuses for the NBA's low ratings. Ratings are low for all professional sports. Well, not the NFL, whose ratings are down just 5% over last year, and who's actually seen some big increases in some games. The media will also tell you, well, ratings for Major League Baseball and NASCAR are down. It's not just an NBA problem. Nice try, Yahoo Sports, but that excuse doesn't hold water either. See, because no one watches Major League Baseball or NASCAR in normal times. So comparing the NBA to Major League Baseball and NASCAR is like comparing a Porsche to a Dodge Dart. The NBA was the 2nd most popular sports league in the country before they decided to become a propaganda machine for the far left. There is no excuse that the media can make. There is nothing that they can say to disguise why NBA ratings are in the tank. The NBA decline is because of one reason and one reason only: social justice politics. It's as simple as that. The question is, if what Adam Silver said the other night is true, and the NBA is going to relax a bit on the political narrative, do away with it completely, return to normal, so to speak, is it too little too late? Has the NBA dug themselves into too deep of a hole for them to get out of? There's a saying in television. I wish I could remember it verbatim. I'm just going to paraphrase it for you. Hopefully you'll get my point. But it goes something like, it is difficult to lure in an audience. It's even more difficult to maintain that audience over time. But if you ever lose your audience, it is damn near impossible to get them back. We see it with television shows all the time. Take American Idol, for example. American Idol dominated television for a decade. Eventually, though, it got stale. They lost a huge portion of their audience, and now the show is pretty much irrelevant. The same thing happened with WWE. When I was growing up in the 90s, WWE was huge. It was the WWF back then. But they had huge mainstream stars, Steve Austin, The Rock. Even the owner of the company, Vince McMahon, was a big star. Then what happened? Their stars got older. The audience left when they left. And the WWE went from having 6, 7, 8 million people watching them on Monday nights to now they can't even draw 2 million people. And the same thing happened with Major League Baseball. Major League Baseball was huge in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, even the early 2000s. But they lost their audience after the whole steroid trial and the steroid scandal, and they've never gotten them back. Now, will the same thing happen to the NBA? Will they regain the 8 to 12 million people that have tuned out of the NBA Finals since last year? Not anytime soon. For the time being, I do think it's too little too late for the NBA. I think they have pissed off their audience to the point that people are not going to come back while LeBron James is still on top. And the problem is, other stars in the league, they've pissed off a lot of people too. Giannis, he made a lot of people mad by leading that ridiculous boycott a couple of months ago. Kawhi Leonard, he's pissed a lot of people off with his load management. Kevin Durant has been pissing people off for years. I told you guys this the other day when comparing the NFL and the NBA. Name one NBA superstar that the American public can get behind right now. I mean, Steph Curry, maybe? I mean, is he the only one? The problem is he's been out of the spotlight for a year. The NBA has been wrong with just about every political move that they have made this year. I'll be honest with you guys, and I know hindsight is 20/20. I know Adam Silver was just being cautious, but I believe if the NBA had never shut down in the middle of March, there wouldn't have been nearly the panic going on with the COVID. The NBA led the country in completely shutting down. When they decided to postpone their season, it was like an earthquake rattled the country. Something like this had never happened before. Now, was it the right decision? In my opinion, no, but I'm looking back at it 6 months later. We have never shut down the country over a pandemic before. Sports leagues have never shut down over something like this. 61 million Americans caught swine flu or H1N1 back in 2009 or 2010. I was one of them. I got it. It was a highly contagious virus, just like COVID is. And let me tell you, it was brutal. I was sick in bed for a week. It was the sickest I had ever been in my life. A lot of NBA and NFL players caught it too. Now, did either league shut down over it? No. There wasn't even a conversation about shutting down. Infected players, they went on IR, and the teams kept it moving. The NBA shutting down set a bad precedent, and it started a domino effect. It gave politicians the green light to take away your personal freedom. You cannot give politicians 100% authority over your life, because if you do, you risk never getting your freedom back. The government cannot keep you safe. There's no such thing as safe. The only person that can keep you safe is you. Ask the safe people in California, New York, New Orleans. Ask them how their life has been the past 6 months. They have been locked down since March, while the COVID in those places has largely subsided. I have friends in all three places. I'll tell you how life is for them. It's miserable. People have lost their businesses, their homes, their lives in some cases. The overreaction to COVID has been a disaster. I mentioned to you guys the other day that I think that we are seeing a seismic shift in terms of mainstream media influence. The mainstream media has never had this little influence in my lifetime. Most of us have no faith in the media. People are tired of being lied to, tired of hearing propaganda. People aren't blindly following the mainstream media like they have in the past. Here is a prime example of sports media propaganda. Chris Haynes at Yahoo Sports wrote an article about guys like Clay Travis, Jason Whitlock, the guys over at Outkick, guys like me, guys like you, making a big deal about the NBA ratings decline. He said people overlook the decline of Major League Baseball or the NFL, all other sports leagues in general. Chris Haynes said that the reason that we focus on the NBA's decline is because it's a league dominated by black men who are raising issues with systemic racism. And that doesn't fit our narrative. I didn't know I had a narrative. And the last I checked, the NFL was predominantly black too. Not sure about Major League Baseball because I don't watch it. Also, Myself and others criticize the NFL for their woke politics going into week 1. The reason I don't criticize the NFL anymore is because they have pretty much eliminated political propaganda from their league. When I watch an NFL game, I don't hear anything about politics. We're focused on the NBA's decline because they've seen the steepest decline in television ratings. We're focused on the NBA's decline because they've been so over the top with political propaganda. The NBA right now is the most political sports league in the country. It has nothing to do with race as to why we are focusing on their decline. This is the type of rhetoric we get from the mainstream media that I feel like people are tired of hearing. After a while, people get tired of being beaten over the head with racial propaganda. More and more people are listening to regular guys or other YouTube sports personalities. Clay Travis over at Outkick has grown immensely the past few months. More and more people are following guys like that instead of guys like Private First Class SJW Skip Bayless or Captain Woke Stephen A. Smith. Now, why do you think that is? Because we don't have an agenda. Every day, I give you my unfiltered opinion. Sometimes you guys like it and agree with me. Sometimes you don't. But when you guys disagree with me, I don't call you out. I don't call you a racist or say that you're not woke. You have your opinion, I have mine. There have been instances where someone has corrected me in the comments section, and I've admitted I was wrong about something. But what you never have to worry about when you watch this channel is me having some type of political agenda. You don't have to worry about me feeding you political propaganda, me protecting the NBA or the NFL. You're going to get my thoughts on whatever the issue is, and that's it. Personalities at ESPN or Fox Sports 1, they have an agenda. They're told by some bureaucratic suit in some ivory tower what they can say and what they can't say. Stephen A. Smith can't criticize the NBA. He can't talk about their ratings decline. ESPN is paying the NBA billions of dollars every year to broadcast their games. The suits at ESPN would have an aneurysm if their highest paid personality was bashing the NBA. So when you're watching Captain Woke Stephen A. Smith or apologetic white dude Max Kellerman, another white SJW desperate to be accepted by the woke movement, when you're watching them, it just feels inauthentic to me. Watching ESPN now feels like watching Don Lemon on CNN or Sean Hannity on Fox News. ESPN is agenda-driven, just like cable news. I'll be honest, I don't think the NBA will recover until LeBron James rides off into the sunset. Before all of this political garbage, I used to praise LeBron James all the time for becoming an international superstar in the social media era and never having one scandal, one arrest, one negative blemish on his legacy. He has ruined all of that the past 3 months. I believe the legacy of LeBron James is forever tarnished. I feel like a lot of people who used to hold him in high regard, used to respect him, used to enjoy watching him play, they're gone. They have disappeared. This is the problem with sports figures becoming political. This is the point that I have been making for 3 months now. This is why Michael Jordan never spoke publicly about politics. When a guy like LeBron James enters the political arena, there's only one outcome: taking an L. You cannot win. Now, once LeBron retires and some time passes, I do believe the NBA will once again be number 2 in this country. They do have some young stars who haven't been tarnished with the political brush. Guys like Zion Williamson, Ja Morant, even a guy like James Harden. He has stayed away from politics. So it's not like the entire league has become political. The problem is the league's biggest superstar has. So everyone gets painted with the same political brush. But Adam Silver having the league take a step back from politics next season, going back to normal, and thinking that it's going to be enough to regain the millions of people in the audience that have tuned the NBA out, is just wishful thinking. It is too little too late. The damage has already been done. The NBA isn't going to bounce back quickly like the NFL did 3 years ago after the Colin Kaepernick situation blew over. Do I think we could see an increase in ratings next year for the NBA playoffs? Sure. I mean, at this point, there's nowhere to go but up. But I think it would be in the league's best interest to start marketing a superstar besides LeBron James going forward. All right, that's all for today. Hit that like and subscribe button. Click the notification bell to receive all notifications from the channel. Leave me a comment in the section below. Is the legacy of LeBron James forever tarnished? Have you guys quit watching media personalities like Stephen A. Smith and Skip Bayless? Do you get most of your sports news from YouTube personalities, or are you still watching ESPN or Fox Sports 1? Let me know your thoughts. I'm really interested in what you guys think about the sports media right now. Also, if you have stopped watching the NBA altogether, what is it going to take for you to come back and watch again? Or are you done with it completely? You can follow me on Twitter at KC_BTL84. If you have any questions, a topic you'd like me to discuss, you can email me at BTLKC84@gmail.com. I'll see you guys next time.